Well, howdy ho there. How you doing today? I hope that everybody out there is doing great. Uh, thank God for all of the wonderful videos that we get to upload and see, and sometimes we get some nice comments and people wave and things are nice. So yay for that. Today I was thinking I would talk a little bit about practical spirituality because I talk a lot about theory and I talk a lot about like the philosophy and ideas behind certain aspects of spirituality, but I don't necessarily always talk about the practical elements that go into it. And sometimes you need the practical elements. I think that spirituality is something that should have, you're going to want some practical basis. And there is the path of knowledge, which is very focused on, you know, uh, philosophy and things like that, and like understanding and knowledge, which understanding and knowledge are good. And I don't think that you should limit yourself necessarily to just knowledge or to just practice. Um, but I was thinking about how I don't always do a lot of practical stuff in these videos. I talk a lot about the philosophy stuff, and I thought I would do at least a little bit more of some talking about some of the practical matters of spirituality, like what practices we should do and what practices we can do on like a daily basis, and like how to frame those practices in a wider philosophical state. And I did want to share a couple of quotes here first, a couple from Ramakrishna and a couple of others. And this one here from Ramakrishna is more are the names of God, and infinite are the forms through which he may be approached. In whatever name and form you worship him, through them you will realize him. So that was the first thing. I always think it's important to note that we can have a ton of different forms of God that we approach, and that you may find that some practices are better and that some forms just simply speak to you more. Some people just really, really like Jesus. Some people, even when they're not born into Christianity, just find that they're just really attracted to the form of Jesus. And, some people find that they're attracted to other forms. Uh, Knowledge leads to unity, but ignorance to diversity. Lovers of God do not belong to any caste. Oh, that's a big arrow. And these are all Ramakrishna. And this is a longer one. Two friends went into an orchard. One of them, possessing much worldly wisdom, immediately began to count the mango trees there and the number of leaves and mangoes on each tree. One second. I think I might need to move here. I think here is good. Nice, I can sun myself on the rock for a second. Anyway. Two friends went into an orchard. One of them, possessing much worldly wisdom, immediately began to count the mango trees there and the number of leaves and the mangoes each tree bore, to estimate what might be the approximate value of the whole orchard. His companion, however, went to the owner, made friendship with him, and then quietly going to a tree, began, at his host's desire, to pluck the fruits and eat them. Whom do you consider to be the wiser of the two? Eat mangoes. It will satisfy your hunger. What is the good of counting the trees and leaves and making calculations? The vain man of intellect busies himself with uselessly with finding out the why and the wherefore of creation, while the humble man of wisdom makes friends with the Creator and enjoys his gifts of supreme bliss. This is actually a quote that I think is very important for this particular video, because I think that spirituality without any practice is it's just not very, like, dwelling on it, like going, well, how does this like come together? What is the ultimate meaning behind this and all that? And it's like it's easy to get stuck in like the ideas and things like that. But there's also this quote from Al-Ghazali: "Knowledge without action is wastefulness, and action without knowledge is foolishness." Al-Ghazali is another guy I think is pretty neat. I like Ramakrishna more, but you know, it's whatever. Shouldn't be just like sitting around going, this is the best man. But you know what I mean. So I wanted to talk a little bit about like personal practices that I have personally found very useful, and things I find that have been maybe less useful for me personally, and you know, I'll just get on the horse. That would probably make this easier. Oh, what? Well, that was weird, but okay. Slippy fall. So one practice that I have found is very useful, whether you're trying to do something in like a material vein or a spiritual vein, is to make it a habit. And I know that that probably doesn't sound that... Oops. Ouchie. That probably doesn't sound like that crazy. Wisdom. But, you know, the truth is that I've found, for instance, like, if you want to meditate every day, which I think can be very good, that one of the easiest things to do is to just get up every morning, or every time you get up, whatever it may be. You know, we all have different kinds of schedules and things like that. Get up whatever time you get up, and just start with your meditation. If you want to do a prayer every day, and that's what I have taken to doing, I get up every day, I, you know, go to the bathroom real quick, wash my little kitty face, I do my little evolutions, and then I immediately go and pray. If I wanted to meditate every day, what I do is I just set a time aside, and often it's just like when I first wake up, you know, I'll do a short little prayer, then like 10, 15 minutes of meditation, sometimes 20. Depends what I'm doing or how long I feel like sitting there. And then, you know, that'll just be it. Or, you know, stuff like if you do something every day, like let's say when you get home from work. He's not attacking me. Is he gonna attack me if he sees me? Oh, yeah. You know, you just want to just like make it a daily thing. If you're trying to, or you know, even if you're just trying to read more scripture or read more philosophy or whatever you're doing, just make it a part of your daily life. Don't be like there's something you need to understand too, is like if you're just starting out to do practices, it's important to note that you're probably gonna have a moment where you're gonna have to realize that you have a limited amount of time in the day, and you have a limited amount of time during the day, and that you can't simply pretend. Oops. That didn't work. And that you're you know, like you have a limited amount of time in the day. You have 24 hours in the day, and you're gonna need to, if you want to grow in something, if you want to grow in spirituality, if you want to grow in you know, fitness, pretty much anything you're trying to grow in or do more of and get better at. If you're not doing it already, then you're gonna need to realize that you're gonna have to take some time out of your day as it already is now and devote it to something that you're not currently doing, right? So for instance, if you have a limited amount of time that you're dedicating to sleep, well, you might need to get up just a little bit earlier if you want to do some meditation and prayer each day. I personally just suggest, just even if it's not like a long ritualistic prayer, to like when you wake up, do like how I do, wash your face real quick, get some, do some ablution if you feel the need to do so, use the restroom, all that stuff, and then just immediately go do a little prayer, or, immediately when you wake up, before you even get out of bed, just, thank God that you woke up, say a short little prayer, things like that. Another thing that is very easy to do, especially if you just like repetition, and I think repetition in japa or zikr and all that is very good. What you can do is just carry some beads with you. I carry mala beads with me pretty much everywhere I go. And what I'll do is, like, sometimes when I'm driving places, if I don't feel like just kitty teleporting to the place or whatever, is I will just like carry the beads with me, and just like, as I'm going, I'll just do a little repetition of the names of God. That worked. I'll do a little repetition of the names of God. Like, usually, I can try to get at least 1,000 repetitions of the, Kali or Om Cream Namakali Kali Namaha. Om Cream Hakali Kali Namaha. Like very simple stuff like that. Or I'll just say Kali, 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 Kali. Or, sometimes I'll do Kali for 108 beats, and then I'll switch to Allah, Allahu Akbar or Alhamdulillah for 108 beats, and then I'll, do Waheguru, or, kind of whatever I'm feeling. Usually, though, it's Kali, Allah. Oh, I need more great runes. Okay. I guess I can go kill somebody. I haven't actually gotten through the Castle of Godfrey. I guess we can go do that. Or have I? No. But you, can do very simple stuff like that, and you would be amazed just like how just including some more devotion in your day, if you don't typically do anything, can actually like really improve things. Or there's also like very simple practices that are not necessarily always religious. For instance, a good practice to do is, say you get a phone call. Say you're getting a phone call and somebody, and maybe you've had a rough day, and what the problem is when you have a rough day is you have a tendency to take it out on other people, like, because you'll just, you're not necessarily even really meaning to, but you'll be in a call with somebody, and then next thing you know, well, geez, that should have just been done. I don't know why you're not just doing what, like little things like that. So a really good practice, and this is very simplistic, is to just before you even answer the phone, just take a second and just do a deep breath in And a deep breath out, you know? Just, and you may say, oh, come on, is that gonna help? And you'd be surprised. It can help a lot, actually. It can really, it can really help you get into a better frame of mind. And if you know, if you just take that moment to just calm yourself before you're doing something, because so often we kind of run through life and we don't really take the time to calm ourselves. And you know, like that's the thing, everybody has their stuff that they're dealing with. And you know, there's lots of stress for folks in the modern world. So, and there's always been a lot of stress for folks in, you know, all the different times and places. But just taking a moment and just breathing deeply can really, really help you out. And, you know, just pay attention. Like, how am I feeling today? You know, just take a little bit of time. Just like, and I'm not really a fan of mindfulness in the corporate sense just because I don't like that it seems to subtract the moral element from it. I don't like that it tends to subtract, well, and you have to behave good and you should treat people well and things like that. I don't necessarily like. Can I summon this guy and still summon my friend? Unless I like summoning my buddy. I actually don't know. Oh, I can, cool. And you know, it doesn't take very much. And now he's gonna do a little dialogue where he's like, "I tarnish, you're so bad," but you know, like, but you know, you can do just like some very, very. I I don't think they were gonna brook me any quarter to begin with, so you know, I don't. Is that really any different? But okay, whatever you want, man. Um, but you can do these little things and you know, like I think with you need to have a strong moral core and remember that you know it's like you want to, for instance, feel better and you want to have a better day, so why wouldn't you try to have a better day and try to be more at peace and more calm so that you can help others have a better day. And you know, you should always remember, it's like sometimes you got to put up with people, but remember, whenever you're putting up with people, people no, I already know what you're gonna tell me. Thank you. Sorry, thank you, bye, bye, thank you, bye. um I forget what's down over here actually. No, let me do that. But you know, just doing little things like taking a breath. Remember that you know other people have to put up with you, so you shouldn't be like, oh yeah, oh man, I can't believe I had to deal with whatever guy today. You know, little things like that. Like you know, remember that everybody's human and everybody makes mistakes. So a common practice is if someone's getting on your nerves, remember, hey, everybody's human. Everybody has their little moments where they do something that maybe you prefer they didn't. And sometimes it's easy just to be like, hey, I'd really prefer it if you didn't. And other times it's like, well, maybe you should just breathe and look past it to the best of your ability. Okay, I'll just come by since I'm back.
I would. It's tightly got. The guards, don't you breach the. Yeah, you're just. I pray.
Thank you. I will let you have yours. I will have success so that you can kick what's his face in the head. And you know, do also just as a good example there, try not to hold grudges. And these are all like little practices that you can do. Just like throughout the day, just remind yourself if you're getting angry, just like you know, all all difficulties are passing, and that we may not be in control of the difficulties we face, but we can control how we react to them. And another thing that's kind of important to remember is that not every thought that comes into your head is a thought that you need to attach yourself to. Like if you're thinking about how you don't like somebody, it's not necessarily, you don't necessarily need to dwell on that, and you don't necessarily need to actually agree with that thought. You don't need to hold on to it and be like, well, this is a thought that came into my head, so I need to take possession of it. That's not true. You don't need to take possession of every thought that enters your head. Some people are like, well, what does that mean? That means that sometimes you need to just observe the more bolts. You need to just observe the thoughts that pop into your head, and don't take possession of them either way. And there's a couple other practices, and these are just, I'm going over some simplistic practices. I think in the future I'm going to go over some of the more complex tantric or meditative practices that I have gone to do, but like, hey, stop it. But for right now, I'm just going over some very simplistic ones. Another one I think is very, I personally have found very helpful is during meditation, if you're having a difficult time focusing, or if you're having a difficult time like keeping to it, what I would suggest is just, counting. You can just go, so it's like you breathe in once, breathe out, that's 1. And then you just count up to 10. Don't go past 10, but count up to 10. And then once you count up to 10, go back down to 1. And then, you just keep doing that. And you're not like getting to any particular goal or any number. You're just counting up and down. If you forget what number you're on, just start back at 1. And you can do that just like if you're having a difficult time during the day and you feel like you're maybe going to say something that you don't want to, or you're feeling like you're just kind of stressed out, just 10 breaths in and 10 breaths out. Just count up to 10, and then just breathe and go back to whatever you were doing. And here's another important thing too, is sometimes if your environment, and this is a practice too in and of itself, if you feel like the environment around you is just particularly hostile and is not accommodating to you, and is not helpful to you right then, and you feel like it's bringing you down, a very good practice is sometimes to just stand up and just get away from it. And it can be difficult because sometimes you can't just get away, but like, if you can't calm yourself with the breath, or if you feel like it's difficult, sometimes just getting up, going away, taking the couple of breaths, and then coming back can be very, very powerful. And practice that those are a few practices that I'd like you all to try. So what I think is very good is when you get up in the morning, go to the bathroom, wash your face, all that good stuff, say a prayer, meditate, either or do both. Just immediately once you wake up. Set times during the day that you're going to take a little break. Set times that you're going to refocus on God, whether your chosen form of God is, Allah, Jesus, Krishna, Kali, whatever. And, you can mix it up too if you want. And just refocus and just think about like the love of God and like the presence of God, and try to feel that presence of God throughout the day. Take some breaths. Breathing is, I think, very, very important. The breathing has done a lot for me personally and a lot of other folks I know. Keep some mala beads on you. You can get some pretty cheap mala beads that are pretty good. I have these little skull beads that I got from Amazon. That they're just 108, and I just keep them with me wherever I go, and I just occasionally just pop them out and just do the names of God. 108 times in a row, and sometimes I'll do it like up to 1,080 times. So I'll do the 108 times 10, and I'll just do that, and I'll just refocus myself. Sometimes when I'm just walking around, I'll do that sort of thing. It's also always important to remember, and this is another important practice, and why I mention it in the prayers during the weekly sermons, is like just try to see the image of Christ, or see the image of Krishna, or see the image of God in whatever form in each person that passes you by. See the image of God in each person that passes you by. And every time someone gets annoyed with you, remember that people have to put, or every time you get annoyed with somebody, I mean, remember that people are putting up with you, and also remember that, hey, this is still a manifestation of God, just like everybody else. Even if that person is really getting on your veins, getting on your veins, getting on your nerves, your brain veins, if you think about it. But uh, even if they're getting on your nerves, remember that, and remember that even if you don't necessarily like a person, it does you no good to focus on those thoughts and be negative towards them. And I just thought that those are some simple practices that would be worth sharing, and something that I think just about anybody can do, really. And those are some very basic, simplistic things that I think you can do. It's kind of throughout your day. To me, a big part of spirituality is that spirituality is not just determined by your moments. Like, it's not just when you're in a church, or it's not just when you're in a temple or whatever. It is something that should extend throughout your whole day. It is something that should always kind of be with you. Not a mean Jimmy Dean. Anyway, I hope that you all enjoyed that little short list of practices, and I think I'll probably try to get into some more of the actual really detailed practices in other videos, and I'll try to get into more of the, like, what can you actually do in terms of like more complex practices, like, well, what are some more complex meditations you can get into, what are some more complex practices for, like, while you're walking around and just while you're living. And I personally don't think we should all be renunciants. I think we should live in the world, and that we should bring spirituality into the world, not try to separate from the world and then, become spiritual. I think we should bring spirituality into the world. And, you'll find it's actually already there, but I'm telling you to bring your spiritual practices into the world. Anyway, I hope you all have an absolutely wondertastic, wonderful day, and I hope that you all feel love and feel the love of God, and I hope that you all have a great time. All right, bye. Love you. Bye. God loves you. Bye. Bye. Bye.